I just want to talk about the top 3 challenges that we're seeing from contractors very quickly. The number one problem that we're seeing right off the top is that it's just taking contractors way too long to be able to send out quotations. This is a big problem. You're trying to quote a job and it's just taking you a long time because there's just so much back and forth that has to be done in order to get a job out. Not to mention the fact that you have to also figure out how much money you're going to potentially be making, and that's a time-consuming process altogether. The second thing that we're noticing is that contractors are just having problems with scheduling, right? Whether it's dispatching to the different jobs or preventative maintenance on an ongoing basis. It's really hard to kind of keep all these moving parts in place as you start to grow and you start to scale your business. And this is a fundamental problem to figure out when and where they need to send sort of the field staff altogether. And last but not least, which is the most important one, I think, is getting paid, of course, right? You did a job, it's completed, but the paperwork is not properly submitted by the technicians. The dog ate the paperwork. So it's just taken a really long time for you to be able to get the invoices out to your customers so you can get paid. And this is a problem. These are the top 3 things that we're seeing all together. And so what I want to do is just kind of very, very quickly address all 3 of these problems in this sort of very quick overview. But before I do that, let me just do one thing. If you could humor me for 1 second, because I always get asked this question, which is, you already have a system in place, so how would our system work? And I just want to address that right up front so you can understand. So let's say you already have a system. This is your system here, and this is your business here, your admin person that's entering data directly into that system. SnapSuite can basically sit beside your existing platform, and we have what we call data connectors, and we can basically pull data from your system, put it into our system. We can make the process of getting quotes, sending out work orders, scheduling jobs significantly more efficient. Then we can just basically push back that data back into your existing platform so you can continue. In other words, when you try to work with us, we don't disrupt the existing process, we just improve it. And then on top of that, we can also push to additional systems. So your accounting system, or as an example, for billing purposes, payments, etc. We can do that. So I just wanted to touch base and quickly address that problem right off the top. With that, I'm going to jump straight into the application so you could see at a very high level overview what our system looks like. So once you log into the platform the very first time, what you're seeing is basically the dashboard. And the dashboard, I won't go into too much details here, but it's an overview of all the jobs that you have in the system. You can see your new service calls, you can see what's dispatched to your field staff, you can see which jobs are completed and ready to be invoiced. Over here, you're seeing jobs that are waiting for purchase orders, or they're just on hold for whatever reason it is. And below, you can filter by clients, you could filter by job type, you could filter by priority, etc. Right? So I quickly am able to kind of see right off the top what are those jobs, where they are in the system across the board. And here I could then come into the details and see all the work orders. On a work order, I have the ability to see all the details right off top. I can add any notes, custom notes, purchase orders, invoices, service materials. It's all here so that you could see it. If I want to see a picture of some whatever was there, this is some random picture, but these are just, it's right there so you can see the entire thing. So let's talk about a quotation very quickly. So here I'm going to come into the system. I'm going to click on new quote, and I'm going to basically choose any client, and just gonna say, so the pricing is coming from my pricing list. I already have that preset in the system, and I already have some inventory that's already set up in there. This could be connected to an existing inventory system, or it could just be that you're just manually keeping track of it yourself. So I'm gonna click save. Now that's gonna basically allow me to go over to the sales section and see the quotation. In here, I could see that quote was created for $1,200 and it's a new quote. Now I could then come in and make further modifications to the quote altogether. I could add additional line items as it is, update the price. Let's say we'll make this $900 and click save. Now here's where it gets interesting. And one thing I mentioned is that you need to be able to price the job to figure out whether you're going to make money or not. So here you could quickly add line items. You could say, let's say, I don't know, I'm installing some tiles, okay, and I need to say each tile costs $15, and I need to install, let's say, I don't know, 2,900 tiles. I have no idea how big that is. Okay, And the cost per hour is going to take about, let's say it's going to take about 12 minutes to install one tile. All right, so let's say tile installation, right? And put some text there. So here with that number altogether, it's going to cost me $45,000 in material, 12 minutes per labor per unit, in total of 580 hours. So right there and then I could quickly figure out how long is this going to take me to get this job done. And then from there, I know what my labor cost is. So right now my labor cost is just 55 on average for the employee, right? I could choose the different employees because you have the rates in the system here. So you have the different employee rates. And so we have the employee rate, so we can calculate the average of the hourly rate, right? Estimated material costs and break even. So for me to just break even on this project, roughly, it's going to take about $75,000. So I cannot quote below that, right? But here's where it gets interesting. I could now say, you know what? I want to make 25% profit on that project. And here, this is my final price. So I could now take that price and send it over into my system. I could click on update code to take that into my system. And then with that, I could get my $75,000 in order to add that to my existing line items to get a quote out of it, right? Then I could click on preview, and in real time, what we're actually doing is generating that document with those details all together. Now, if you notice, I have a very short document. It's kind of a one-pager, but it's sort of spilling over to 2 lines here. Now I could actually change the template very quickly, very easily, by just swapping the template to any template in the system. And what that will actually do is swap out the old template and swap it out with a brand new template just by clicking that one drop down. So depending on the type of projects that I have, I can quickly and easily send out a quotation to a customer. And from there, it's a matter of just clicking the email button. I already have a template in the system. So it says sales template here. And I can put the customer name and whatever other details. If you notice, it already added the quote number and the job site that it's trying to send to. I'm just going to put test here, and then I can press the send button, and I will send that email out altogether. So assuming that email went out, when I close the quotation, now you'll notice that the quote has changed to sent to client. And this is how I'm able to keep track of all the different quotes that I have in the system very seamlessly, very easily, with no real hassle. Now, let's pretend that it's a few days have passed and that customer decided, you know what? I want to go ahead with you guys. Your $95,000 project looks good. Let's go ahead. So I just got to come in here, click on the action button, and the only step there is create a job. So click on create a job, and I'm able to take the information from the line items. I can make some edits to it. I could put some additional details in here. And what I'm going to do is click on save. And that's going to instantly create a job, and it's now marked as inspection and maintenance, ready to go. You could change the type to any type that you want here. Now, if you notice, that quote was changed to approved by client. So without doing any single updates, the system is automatically able to infer information as you go forward. So now I'm going to go back to my dashboard. This is the quote that I just had there. It's a pretty big job. It says it's ready to go, but maybe I need to do a little bit more planning. So what I can do now is just quickly jump in here, make any additional changes. I could put some scheduling info. So here is my schedule. CAGD info, right? If I need to add any additional notes specific to the job, I could add some notes there. And if I need to do any permits or anything of the sort, I could add those details there. I can press preview and see the details of the work order. And obviously I have the option to just manually print this. This work order again could be any single thing that you want. I could send it out to a client via email, etc. But in the interest of time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send this work order onto the mobile to a technician. So I'm going to show you very quickly on the mobile, and then I'll show you how dispatch. So let's just drop this, go over here. So here you see my mobile. I have currently 3 jobs. If you look at the very top there, it says I have 3 jobs currently on the work order. So I'm just going to go across back into the system, and I'm going to click on dispatch. I could do that from here, or I could do it from the dashboard, but it's clicking this little truck icon. I'm going to click dispatch. I'm just going to choose Ralph. That's who I'm logged in as right now. And it's going to send a work order number. The thing, this would go by text message or a mobile notification. And so in doing so, Now I could basically click on the job here, and then you'll see in a second here, now I have 4 jobs. So that job was just added to the list of jobs that I have inside the system. I can now click on accept the job, and by clicking accept, if I go back to the dashboard just to show you very quickly, so right now the job says it's scheduled. However, I'm going to click on accept, and when I click on accept, I'm just going to move this to the side here. For 1432, this is the job I'm looking for. So I'm just going to click on accept and click on yes, and then that job will now, that status will change to accept. Okay, so you'll see that in a sec. There we go, accepted the job. Okay, and then I'm going to click on details, and here I can actually see full details of the job, including all my notes. Now here's where it gets interesting. I could actually click on the record, because one of the problems that we've noticed time and time again is that technicians, they just do a poor job of making notes of what they did on the job. So with that, they could click on this voice tab and then click on record, and they could just start recording some audio notes. Now the cool thing about this is once they record that notes to say, you know, I did some installation, this is what I did, I explained the problems, all that type of stuff. The minute they click on save, we're going to take that data, we're going to take the audio, we're going to submit it back to our system, and then our system will automatically transcribe that audio into text. This could then be used to go on the invoice or the work order, etc. All right, so I'm going to press on save audio, 29 seconds of audio there, and I'm just going to show you a few more things on the app very quickly. So here I have the ability to see the status of the job. I could change it to say, you know what, the job is temporary fix, and I can clock my time in, my time out, my break times, etc. And then I could add any sort of materials on the job. Now I have service material here because that came over from the quotation itself. So I'm just going to choose very quickly here, LED monitor. I'm going to click on here, click on add, and then just add one other item there. And then I'm just going to take a picture. So I could just click on the take a picture button. I'm going to take a picture of my sort of desk in front here. So there we go. Snap a picture. And now I have that picture. I'm going to say office. This picture could be anything. It could be a picture of a document, etc. And I'm just going to go back to the work order now. So on that work order, so now notice that status says temporary fix. If I click on this and I go over to documents, I'll see that I have one document called, one photo called office. I click here and I'm able to see that photo immediately. I also have the ability to see, this is the information that I entered on the mobile, right? So with that, I now have the ability to now click on create an invoice. The last step that I'll show you is to create an invoice. Here, automatically all that details came across on the invoice. I could put in my line item, I could change the tax details, I could add additional line items, and I could change that record. Now here's where I can also do a few more things. For example, this particular customer, you know, let me just delete a couple of items here. So just to make it easier to see. So here we got a customer. You could do customer group rates. So you could put custom specific rates for this particular customer. The system already knows the rates, and it could be preset in the system. So let me see if I could find one that has preset items. Okay, there we go, 155. All right. And once I do that, I can click on save, and now I have an invoice that is ready to go right off the top. So that invoice on this work order shows up as a tab here. It says invoice here. Now if I click on this here, it's going to open up a new tab, so at least I don't lose my place on the work order in itself. And then here I could go look at the invoice itself, see all the invoice details, the line items, the description, and also at this particular point I can make any additional changes to the description as it is, right? Then once I do that, I can click on preview, and I will see a preview of an invoice that I'm able to see right away with the details. Okay, and then from there I can click on email, and that allows me to send that email out immediately. Already has a preset template. It already knows the customer name and added, and it says hope you're well. Here's the invoice details, here's the work order, and you could put some additional customer information in here. You could have a preset subject, and then you press the send button. So that's just how easy it is to get all the way from quotation all the way to invoicing in just a matter of minutes. The cool thing about our system is that you could set up all of the templates and pricing and all that stuff ahead of time. And so with a couple of clicks, it's super easy and really fast in order to be able to kind of push the deal through. The last thing I'll touch on very quickly, just as a very broad conversation, is around scheduling. Here you can see all of your guys in one location. You can see your jobs, and you can kind of just schedule and drop them onto the jobs immediately and kind of go from there. All right. But I won't get into too much details there. I just wanted to kind of give you that quickly. The other thing that you could do very easily is that as the technicians are sending in their report for their time, here you can see a printout of all the different reports. You could say, you know what, I want to filter by specific customer and see what technicians did what for what customer, how many hours were billed, overtime, travel time. And then you could just have the ability to just export that as an Excel spreadsheet, or we could sync that or push that data to another system. So there's lots of opportunities, lots of choice here. I don't want to overwhelm you with too many details. Just want to give you sort of a quick high level overview. But what I will say last here is that the way that we set up our platform is that everything is customizable. So if there's something that is not necessarily working for you, then we spend the time to customize it specifically for your business. Every business is unique. Every business has their own sort of like different ways in doing things. And we believe in customizing our platform for your needs, not the other way around. So with that, thank you very much for your time. Have yourself a wonderful day. Goodbye.